Hello everyone. Today in the subject of industrial biotechnology, we are going to study about biotechnology entrepreneurship. So, the main objective of this our lecture is to give you a brief introduction about good entrepreneurial practices that are involved in industrial biotechnology. And the outcome will be you will be able to understand what are the essential details and intrinsic qualities that are required for developing a new business. Biotechnology entrepreneurship is the sum of all activities that are necessary to build an enterprise through the uh, melding of both scientific and business discipline. So, what they are trying to explain here is that biotechnology entrepreneurship is somewhat a different scenario, is somewhat a different methodology, and it requires a combination of scientific approach as well as uh, the business aspect. So you must have both the qualities of a scientific investigator, but also you must have the mind of a businessman. And what you readily need is that to develop an aptitude that inspires you to result uh, in transformation of market. Okay, you should be able to understand the ups and downs that are readily included in the market development and market scenario. It is through these integrated activities that an enterprise creates, develops, and ultimately commercializes a biotechnology product. So, due to all these activities and all these scenarios which are followed through extreme investigation and extreme level of research, an enterprise develops. Okay, it can leave its own legacy, and it also earns a lot of profit. So, for developing and commercializing biotechnology products, it is extremely essential that you understand the pros and cons and the techniques of biotechnology and the product that is in current demand in the market. So, if you are able to do such all such transformations, they can readily be a lot more beneficial. They can readily be a lot more effective in case of developing a new business ideas and new details. Some of the most amazing life-saving treatments and medical devices, advanced fuels, and efficient crops have been created and developed through biotechnology enterprises. So, all this started particularly in the year of 1980s when all the scientists, they started commercializing the use of biotechnology as the science was progressing in leaps and bounds, and people never expected the biotechnology to develop so fast. Okay, many of the life-saving treatments are a result of biotechnology result. Okay, and we have already made a lot of progress in biofuels, right? Efficient crops, you all know, genetically modified crops. We have enhanced the qualities and that are included in those crops. Uh, Not only crops but also in animals. So biotechnology uh, has not been just a single subject. It it is just spreading its roots wherever it is possible and transforming the thing. So it is really very difficult to avoid biotechnology, and especially in business sectors where progress is uh, extremely important. Okay, so biotechnology is progressing day by day, and also the technology that it brings to the table is extremely different from other scenarios. The significance of a biotechnology entrepreneur. All companies require a capable and skilled leader if they have any hope of becoming successful, right? So, if the leader is capable, skilled, then the company will always be working together. The business will always keep on growing. But if the leadership is not up to the mark, or not, you don't have a strong leadership, then your business will suffer. It is always understood by the entrepreneurship experts. However, without an entrepreneur, there will be no company. So, as we have covered in our previous lectures, what are the extrinsic details that are extremely important for the entrepreneur to have, right? Without a Rob Swanson and Herb Boyer, there would be no Genentech. Okay, Genentech was the first biotechnology company that started manufacturing insulin. Without Ivor Royston and Howard Brindorf, there would be no hybrid tech. Not to mention the numerous companies that their employees subsequently birthed in the San Diego area. So, biotechnology has been always transforming the lives of the people, and uh, in United States of America, in Europe, in India, everywhere it has enhanced the scientific thinking and logical reasoning of the people significantly. Now things are really very different, right? So yes, diverse teams of people are essential uh, to the success of any organization. Your team should be good, right? And it is extremely important for any organization. However, without the leadership, vision, and the driving force of an entrepreneur, biotechnology products will never be brought into existence. So, uh, leadership, vision, driving force, inspiration, they all are extremely important for an entrepreneur. And when you have all these things all together, when you have cocktail of all these things, um, this puts or lays down the foundation of biotech business or the companies like Genentech. Biotechnology entrepreneurs are the backbone of biotech industry and the source of its future innovation. So, entrepreneurs are a good thing, but biotechnology entrepreneurs are a different breed, right? They are very much, they can very much understand the scientific investigation and the intrinsic details that are essentially important in manufacturing of many scientific products, biotechnology products, right? So, biotech industry and the source of future innovation is all linked with biotechnology entrepreneurs. Okay, without them, there would be no biotechnology industry. So, if biotechnology entrepreneurs are not there, there would be no biotechnology industry. So, nowadays, you can see everything is very easily available in kits. Whatever enzyme you require, whatever chemical you require, whatever kind of different needs you have, you can easily fulfill them. So, biotech entrepreneurs are leaders with vision and passion, driving them to pursue their goals with the belief that their product or service will ultimately impact the well-being of multitudes. So, biotech entrepreneurs, they understand what is their vision and mission. Okay, their passion subsequently develops several different kinds of products that are extremely useful in the long term, right? Their product and services impact lives of millions, and they also impact uh, leads to the development of life-saving medicines also. Okay, so all these things are extremely important, and they all are really needed because if biotechnology experts or entrepreneurs are not there, uh, no development in life-saving drugs or ultimately development of cheap vaccine would have been there. Biotechnology entrepreneurs start companies for various reasons. Universally, they believe that their product or service can better diagnose, treat, cure, feed, or fuel millions of people. So, the core idea for biotechnology entrepreneur to start a new company, to start a new business, depends on serving humanity. Okay, for the long term, they think how they can provide such a service to people that is extremely different from others. Okay, how they can readily provide a diagnostic method, how readily they can provide a treatment or cure for that particular disease, how they can provide uh, good yield to the agriculture, right? And how they can provide clean fuel to millions of people. So all these things and all these scenarios are extremely important. Most biotech entrepreneurs start companies with a heavy dose of altruism, and most often this is the driving force that propels the work efforts. So when the combination that intrinsically requires a lot of business understanding is there, is already there, right? And when you also require the reason of logical understanding of scientific methods, when it is also there, right? And due to all these scenarios, due to all these reasonings, what you see and what you get in the long term, what you express and what you see is that when the individual is having deep scientific knowledge, okay, and when the individual is having the complete understanding of the market, this leads to the formation of a indifferent mindset and indifferent individual. And most particularly, this individual is able to transform himself or herself, particularly according to the scenario of the market, right? So this not only leads to the development of new business and new business ideas, and they can already see that from where you can uh, get some new uh, driving force, new technique from where you can learn what are the intrinsic details that can be incorporated into your own work, and what is the thing that is lacking in your work culture. So, universally, biotech entrepreneurs are very different from each other. Integration of two distinctly different disciplines. That is already we are talking about. Biotechnology entrepreneurship is based upon integration of two distinctly different disciplines, science and business. So, being an entrepreneur of biotechnology, you have to not only you have to be good at science, and you have to understand all the intrinsic details that are extremely essential to run a business and to understand the scientific methodology. But you must also understand the details and mechanisms and scenarios that are extremely important in the business. So, this scenario readily serves as the basis or the combination that is required for biotechnology entrepreneurship. So, you must be good at science also, you must be good at business also. Managing the complexity of the uh, intertwined cross discipline enterprise can take first time entrepreneurs by surprise. Right. So when you are running such kind of business and things are uh, entangled with each other and they are intertwined, because you have to simultaneously manage the scientific things also, but you also have to manage the business aspect also. So this particularly leads to a very funny or different kind of situation that sometimes can be really very complex, right? First-time entrepreneurs in the scientific field often start with the belief that completing scientific research is equivalent to success. So, The main scenario that arises is that most of the time the biotechnology entrepreneurs they think that okay, we have completed this scientific method, okay, we have seen this scenario, right? Now we understand how this particular type of things they work. Now we can readily perform anything. Okay, we can make anything, and we have done our research, we have done our homework, but it is not equivalent to success, because in the long term you require business skills also. Okay, you have to market your product, you have to move your product in the production line, you have to see all the intrinsic details essentially. Soon afterwards, they learn there is a vast difference between completing a scientific project and building a successful company. Okay, so what is the difference? Completing a scientific project is totally different thing, but building a successful business and successful company is also a very different thing. So simultaneously, you have to carry on both the tasks, and you have to be good at it and really good at it. When you include the need to make practical and strategic business decisions, which is not a typical skill set most scientists possess, leading a biotechnology company can be quite challenging. So, uh, when you need to make and strategic business decision, okay, which is not typical skill set most scientists have. Okay, uh, most scientists have the scientific aptitude, but when it turns out to be having a strategic business decision or qualities, scientists they don't have that skill. So leading a biotechnology company can be quite a challenge if you are having a scientific persona or scientific aptitude. So the term entrepreneur, as defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary, is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of business or enterprise. So entrepreneur has to organize any business. Okay, what are the things that are essentially required? Okay, what you will be needed to run that particular type of business, and manages and assumes the risk of a business or an enterprise. So, bio entrepreneur not only takes, takes the calculated risk, but also manages the enterprise subsequently. Okay, if he is facing the risk of loss, but he will all or she will also gain the profit also. In other words, entrepreneur is the owner and manager of the business risk. That is what we are discussing. If he manage things correctly, he will reap off the profit on his own. If he mismanages the thing, he will reap off the loss on its own. So it is a business of risk, and one has to understand the scenario in the market. Then you have to work according to it. However, in a biotechnology enterprise, the entrepreneurs is also the owner and manager of the scientific risk. So, if you are working on a medicine and working on a solution uh, for anything or any disease, so you are also managing a scientific risk. Okay, you don't know that very particular type of product will be successful or not. That very particular type of product will be valued or not, right? The product will be in extreme demand or it cannot be. The duplicity and roles requires an individual who understands both risks, right? So, entrepreneur understands where his or her business is going to work well and where it is not. So, he or she has to take some very smart decisions also. Okay, This is because decisions made in one area impact the corresponding area, and scientific issues are often uh, intrinsically tied to the business issues also, right? Sometimes they both make opposite decisions, and they require opposite circumstances to be dealt with. For instance, your latest laboratory experiment may reveal an unforeseen requirement to modify your company's planned molecular target, and therefore the team needs to modify the screening assays used to select the best target molecule. This in turn alters the original allotted item to reach your planned development milestone. Okay, so you require some amendments in your technique. You require some advanced scenarios to be introduced in your basic target molecule. But your business aspect is not allowing you to cover that very milestone. Then it creates a lot of issues, right? Consequently, this change results in a requirement for more capital than originally anticipated in order to sustain the organization through this period. So then you have to run your business mind in order to understand the intrinsic details from where you have to do the calculations. Without the necessary capital to continue development, a company ceases to exist. So, management of capital, money management is extremely important for the development of a company. If money is not being properly managed, the company will cease to exist. So, creating successful biotechnology enterprise requires careful integration and management of both the business and scientific issues. Not to mention the myriad uh, of the other startup issues an entrepreneur faces along the path of bringing a product to the market. So, biotechnology entrepreneurs face a lot of challenge in the scientific studies also, a lot of challenge when it comes to business aspect also. So they have to strike a perfect balance in between in order to make their business successful. So biotechnology versus entrepreneurship, biotechnology entrepreneurship versus general entrepreneurship. How these two things are different from each other? What are the main things that make them indifferent from each other? There are similarities between biotechnology entrepreneurship and general entrepreneurship activities. There are some very huge differences. Both require a competitive idea and experienced team to lead and manage the functions of the enterprise. Okay, so both when you see the both the aspects, the competitive idea and experienced team is extremely important to manage the function of an enterprise. Capital to support the endeavor through to commercialization. You must have the capital to commercialize the things. Okay, you must have an experienced team and dosed perseverance to overcome roadblocks encountered along the way. So you must have the people who have complete dedication towards their work, and because when you are going to work, you are going to face a lot of roadblocks, a lot of issues, a lot of problems when the things are going to come into role play. So in the long term, you have to manage a lot of things, a lot of different scenarios, right? So these things not only prepares you for the future challenges, but also make you uh, a reliable individual or an individual who can readily face and see everything that is extremely important in order to develop a new business or the new business that is extremely rare. And when you strike a perfect balance in between biotechnology and business, things will readily change. And this is where the most of the people they fail, and this is where the real reality in the difference in the things starts to appear. So every time the biotechnology expert not only has to look into the context carefully, but also have to manage the things in a differential manner. However, the difference between these two entrepreneurial paths are greater than their similarities. Biotechnology endeavors come with unique challenges or other entrepreneurial endeavors do not face. So, other entrepreneurs they do not face the scientific challenges, the complete understanding of this production scenarios and intrinsic details that are extremely essential when it comes to following the scientific methodology. So, but when you are dealing with bio entrepreneurship or biotechnology, biotech entrepreneurs, they have to develop all such things. Okay, they all have to look into the context. They all have to look into the matter, and they all should be well versed in the scientific scenario and reasoning. Right. So it is not like that you are running a business and you have hired a scientific professional. No, it is not like that. That very individual who has developed the business, he should have the complete understanding of the scenario, and he should have the intrinsic knowledge of each and every system. So, in the long term, all these things are required for the development of all these scenarios and methodologies. And because the individual is also having scientific technology, uh, in the long term, he or she has to reap the benefits of that, right? So most of the time, the biotechnology entrepreneurs are highly educated and individuals who understand the scientific aspect from inside out, but they only require to develop their business skills because scientific people most of the time they do not understand the business skills that are extremely important. These include the need of enormous amounts of money to make incremental product development progress, longer development time, and stiffer regulatory approval requirements in order for product to be commercialized. So when you are manufacturing, okay, you have uh, formulated a product. Now you need enormous amount of money to make it an incremental product. Okay, now you have to bring that product in reality to the market, and you have to develop it as a product. Your idea should be developed in the form of product, and you require a lot of stiffer regulatory approvals and requirements for the product to be commercialized, right? So you have to commercialize the situation also, and you have to commercialize your product also. So your product should be tested and respected in every aspect. It is not like that your product is having flaws and uh, issues and you are still manufacturing your product. No, every aspect of your product should be tested, and then the huge amount part of money is invested in its production because once the production has started, it will not be stopped. Biotech products also have an inherent scientific uncertainty that often is not fully appreciated. So, most of the time, biotechnology also pack this uncertainty. Okay, inherent scientific uncertainty. Okay, okay, you because it arises in middle of nowhere. You might be working nicely on your ideas, and suddenly this particular enzyme will not work. Okay, and all of a sudden this reagent is not working properly. then you have to replace it. So uh, when it comes to the biotechnology product, all these kinds of things are full of uncertainties, right? So when uncertainties are there, uncertainties are not at all appreciated by the business community. Okay, they say this is the work path. We have to follow this scenario, and everything will be up to the mark. But in the long term, it can really be a problematic situation. Often, when developing these new products, the cause for the disease or condition with which the product is targeting is not yet understood. Right? So you are manufacturing some medicine kit for a disease which is not yet been completely understood, and you bring your product to the market in a rush, and your product fails. Then who should be blamed, and who will understand this scenario and this situation? So it is extremely essential for you, uh, before launching any sort of business. Do not hurry. Okay, understand the market, understand the intrinsic details that are extremely important. So, whenever you are going to deal with such scenarios, then you will understand the intrinsic details and the business aspect of the things. And the scientific progress is also important, but you should understand the pros and cons of the thing and try to remove all the inherent scientific uncertainties that comes with the problem. And time and money difference. Every entrepreneurial enterprise requires capital in order to develop a product and reach commercialization. So, time and money difference are very important. So, whenever you are developing a product, you require a lot of money to be invested in. However, biotechnology endeavors require orders of magnitude, more capital, and take much longer to develop than most endeavors. So, decisions include capital need and timing, competitive landscapes and competitive market, changing regulatory requirements from time to time in order to uh, make your production and business advanced, target market and forces, scientific results and capabilities, intellectual property protection, and all these things are essentially important when you are trying to develop a new business. Companies that develop internet applications or consumer-oriented products may only require a few $100,000 in capital and a year or two in development before having a commercial product. Whereas biotechnology enterprise require multiple millions of dollars and many years, possibly decades, before our product will reach market. So this is a very long-term commitment, and the way you are working, the way you are progressing, and the way you will commercialize the product are very different things. Because of the enormous capital requirement to produce a product in the biotechnology industry, maximizing your company's attractiveness to investors and industry partners is vital during the growth of your organization. No matter how great a product idea or technology concept may be, without continued and uninterrupted funding, it uh, it is nearly impossible for any biotechnology product to reach commercialization. When you are dealing with biotechnology products, right? When you are dealing with the development of the products, each and every time you have to look into the context that your product is up to the mark and you are getting uh, uh, there's no blockage of funding when your product is under process of development. Therefore, capital planning and the management's ability to raise capital are vital prerequisites for growth and development of a company in this industry. Biotech entrepreneurs must have in their mind a good estimate of the total capital required to reach each value enhancing milestone in order to remain attractive to subsequent investors. Funding gaps uh, are not unusual for the development stage company. However, it is incumbent upon leaders to be sure that these short term and temporary funding gaps do not cause the demise of the company. So, biotechnology entrepreneurs they have to make sure the funding is uninterrupted. Okay, because lack of these things will uh, affect your work in a very lethal way. Biological uncertainty factor. One inherent factor with all biotechnology product development plans is biological uncertainty. Each biotechnology product idea carries with it a finite amount of biological uncertainty, which is not fully known until the product is developed and finally tested in the laboratory. In the field, uh, in the field, in animals or in humans. For medical devices and diagnostics, this biological uncertainty factor is not fully appreciated until the device or test is validated in a large enough population of living beings, whether in animals or tested in large numbers of clinical specimens. For therapeutic and biologics, this biological uncertainty may have uh, erroneously be presumed to be minimized by having positive preclinical phase 1 and phase 2 testing results, only to discover that in phase 3 the product is not effective in larger population of people. For agricultural biotechnology products, this biological uncertainty can be hidden in the animal or animal species through the known effect of a gene trait or its effect on the downstream flood chain, the downstream food chain, or the eco environment. Thus, inherent biological uncertainty risk factors that may be managed in order to successfully bring any biotechnology product to the market. So it is impossible for the entrepreneurial team to eliminate this biological uncertainty. However, as creative managers will find ways to adapt their products within the confines of their biological uncertainties to ultimately produce a product that has great value to our target group of people. So, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. The vast majority of individuals dealing with these things, even though you might not have started a company or certain business, much of what we discuss is entrepreneur and the qualities that you require. Each individual should learn what it means to operate as a biotechnology entrepreneur, irrespective of their position within an organization. So, what is an entrepreneur? All companies have positions which carry broad responsibilities for a particular function, division, or department. The individuals who fills these positions solve problems encountered within their department or function. And entrepreneur approaches problems and makes decisions if they were solely responsible for the outcome, and they operate as if the consequences impact them personally. An entrepreneur work with to complete not only the task and responsibility assigned to them, but they also observe the function around them to be sure they are being carried out properly. As they understand these can impact their own work and the outcome. Great entrepreneurs know that their career advancement is determined in part by how they creatively solve problems and manage responsibilities their company entrusts to them. So there are more career opportunities within biotechnology industry than most individuals recognize. For those who want to learn more about the various careers options available to individuals with biotechnology backgrounds. Specific aspects of doing business in biotech include many things. A comparative analysis of successful factors in entrepreneurship can make a valuable contribution to identifying aspects that can decisively influence the simulation and sustainable development of entrepreneurship. So, biotechnology industry is considered as a domain of future, which has a lot of potential, not only at national but also at global level. So, you have to develop understanding of public sector and private sector. You have to understand the investors and scientists and managers, institutions operating within the market. Okay, biotech entrepreneur is a person who is able to cope with all the unexpected twists and turns in the field, with a sense of business and great skill for negotiation, the ability to quickly learn the things if they are not strictly related to the research they are doing, and within a high sense of responsibility because its products can affect very many people. Another notable aspect is that biotech researcher is an international citizen. He must interact with a wide range of people in different corners of the world to increase his chances of success and his performance. So, identifying business ideas in biotechnology represents a set of enabling technologies and that find applications in various industries and economic sectors. There are more and more companies that, while operating in traditional fields, uh, integrate biotechnological products and technologies into their production process in order to improve their quality and yield and reduce their environmental impact. Not surprisingly, no production process is less invasive for the environment than natural process from which biotechnology originates. So, biocatalysis has now fully entered all the industrial sectors and is crucial for the development of sustainable chemistry. And it is based on the use of bioprocess mediated by microorganisms or enzymes capable of accelerating the speed of the reaction without the production of toxic substances, and on the use of mild temperature conditions. Biocatalysis has therefore become a valuable tool not only for its lower environmental impact but also for its increasingly becoming a cost effective alternative to classical chemical process. So, biocatalysis is now used in a variety of fields from pharmaceuticals to food sectors and to the production of biofuels to the restoration and conservation of cultural heritage. So these are like intrinsic quality, like stimuli of a psychological nature, lesson learned from past experience, individual traits of person. They are all qualities that are required from an entrepreneur to have in the long term. Okay, to earn a satisfactory profit out of it, to manage the things properly, and uh, to learn the pros and cons of running a business. So these are the MCQs. The entrepreneur has been derived from the term uh, entrepreneur, which means to undertake. Entrepreneurship is a creative activity said by Joseph. What is the hallmark of a successful entrepreneur? Flexibility. Which type of entrepreneur utilize a chance to introduce a new technique, or a new product. Innovative entrepreneur. In which state of India is the standard education is highest? Kerala. Uh, which phase is the phase of real training? The correct answer is B, training phase. The seed capital scheme is being operated by IDBI. Uh, Calcutta, why self-employment sector center targets unemployed youths between the ages of 18 to 30 years. Uh, in 1995-1996 periods, what percentage of the total entrepreneurs were women entrepreneurs? Correct answer is 11.2. Why majority of women are unaware of technological developments? Because a lack of education. These are the references from where we have collected the material. And thank you very much for listening to my lecture.